Hi, this video is to show how to assemble some single string Tensegrity models. These models are printed on a 3D printer. The files will be on Thingiverse, and this video is to show how to put them together. First, let's talk a little bit about Tensegrity models. This is the type of Tensegrity model that is currently most popular. It's got a single string in the center and then one at each of the corner. Sometimes they have it turned where the points are at different places. It's a pretty cool model. It's kind of springy, which makes it fun. Let's sit here and hold this, and you can see it's a little springy, and that makes it kind of fun. And it will twist a little bit. Depends on how tight you get the strings. You want it to be just a little sturdier. You can add an extra string at each corner, like this one. It's still got the string up the center, like the standard, but then it's got two on each corner run diagonally, and this makes it where it doesn't twist. It's much more rigid than the standard one. However, we're not going to be showing how to put those together on this video. Those are just kind of the standard models. What we're going to be doing is these. First, here is the single string. It's a single string version, but it's only got the two parts. I call these parts the bases, and as you can tell by looking at it, it's got the standard string in the center, like the other one, plus it extends on down to the bottom and on up to the top, so it's one continuous string all the way through. It's a little springy, which is cool, makes it more of a kinetic. Using that approach, we can go up to more parts, such as you see here. This one's 3 parts, one single string running all the way from the bottom down here, coming up through all the way through here. We've gotten a little bit farther, and we even have this one that's 4 different pieces, all held by a string. And on this one, since these bases get a little wobbly when you print them because the string's sticking out the bottom, and the 3D printing, sometimes they warp just a little bit, makes them wobbly, so I made this stand. So when we get ready to do these, the print files, I call this the stand, these kind of pieces the base, and these I call a bow, like in a bow and arrow. So that's the bow. We'll show you how to put all those together. Now, an interesting tool that you may want to use is a needle threader. I made this needle threader out of some real fine piano wire. Anybody who's done a lot of sewing will recognize what a needle threader is. This one here is made to go through deeper holes than a needle, and we'll show you how to use that as well. Now, I said those parts were printed on 3D printer, on our 3D printer. Because of that, we have lots of different colors and varieties that we can choose from. And so here's what they all look like. One thing nice about a 3D printer, you can just print more of them if you want different models, different designs. Also, on the string I'm using is just ordinary kite string. It's got a few strands here. The reason why I'm using ordinary kite string is it's fuzzy. Instead of using knots, I use super glue. If somebody's really good at knots, which I do pretty good, but this is pretty small stuff. But anyway, I tried using good sail sewing thread, which is polyester, and it was too slippery and the super glue wouldn't hold. So I'm just using good old basic kite string. There's no metal wires in it or anything. Okay, in this part I'm going to show you how a Tensegrity model works and the basics of some of the things we're going to be doing here as we put this together. So I'm going to put together a couple of these bows and then explain how this whole thing works. It's not magic, it's just it uses string tension to make it work. It looks like you're pushing a rope, which if you're an engineer like I am, they always tell you that you can't push a rope. Well, we're going to show how you can do just that in a way, because we're putting the string under tension. So First off, we gotta use this just like you would a bow and arrow. Make this where it's really tight and the string's really tight, just like you were going to shoot an arrow out of it. So let's see what we can do. It's kind of hard to see the string because it's white. If we need to, we might move over to the black background. Let's try it on the black background first and see if you can see that. So there, now you can see the string. First thing you do is this needle threader. As you saw in the needle threader, it has a pointy end on it. It's been folded over to a sharp point, and then it's got a little bump here. What that does is you slide that through, you slip that through the hole, and that bump opens back up again. So you have an extra area there, and then you can just stick the string into that open part. And once you get it in there and through that open loop, then you can pull it right back through the hole, and there you go. You got a string running through the hole in the part without having to struggle with getting that fuzzy string through that little hole. Now, what we're going to want to do is glue that in place. So let's get the super glue open. What I've been using is this Loctite, which is made by, it's a gel, and you can squeeze out a little drop of the gel, and there's a little drop coming out there, and you put this drop where you want to glue the string to the plastic. So just a little squeeze of gel, put it in there, and then instead of waiting for it to set up, sometimes super glue doesn't set up right away, I use this accelerator. Some people call it zip kicker. This is Instacure, but it's a super glue accelerator, and you just spray it on that area there. I sprayed it on there, and the glue dries almost instantly. Then you can cut off the extra part of the string, so you have a nice clean joint. Now, wasn't that easier than tying? That's great. Okay, the next part, it gets a little tricky. Once again, we'll use our needle threader, which I put over here. By the way, on this needle threader, one other good thing, this is the working end that we're going to be using a lot. On the other end, I've got this loose wire. It's really handy for unplugging the super glue bottle. So, and again, let's run this loop through here. Put this into the needle threader, through the loop in the needle threader, pull it back through, and there we go. Now the tricky part is we want to have this under tension. So let me pull this back so you can see the string against the black background, and pull this up a little closer. So now you can see it. Now I'm going to put a lot of tension on here, and while I'm doing that, I'm pulling on this string out here to take up the slack. And this takes some work, and sometimes you need an extra hand, and a lot of times my wife will help me do this. So let's get this thing set up. Get the super glue out. Lots of tension. Little bead of super glue. Put it right there where you want it glued. And then spray the accelerant on there. Wait just a little bit, and then it slipped. I didn't get enough glue on there. Let's try this again. Might have to wrap it around on this case. Now this is color changing plastic, so you can tell when the glue goes off because it gets hot and the plastic changes to pink. So I let off my grip, and now you have this bow, and listen how tight that is. A little bow and arrow. Okay, so let's make another one. Now, an important thing to do is when you cut your string, cut it longer than you want, because you can. It's always easier to cut off the extra than it is to add some back on. So let's do all this again. Okay, and let's see if we can get it to go through there now. Push that through. Put the string in the needle threader. Pull it through. There we go. Get that line up the direction we want. Squeeze out some gel. Little gel coming out. Put that down there in the hole. And set it up. There we go. You can see the pink color. It's got a good grip on it. So let's cut off the extra. Now the other side, the tricky side. There we go. Make sure it's not wrapped around. Run this through the loop and the needle threader and pull it through. There we go. So let's put tension, squeeze the bow, squeeze out some super glue, get it down in there, and accelerant, and you can see it change it to a little bit of a color, so it should be done. Okay, and it held. There you go. So let's cut off the extra, and once again you can hear it's tight. Now here's the explanation of how this Tensegrity works. Everybody can tell that this string is real tight and stiff. So how do you make it stand up and work? Well, basically what you're doing is you're taking the two bows and connecting them almost like you're gluing the two strings together, like so. So let me back it up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So if you were to glue these two strings together right here, you can see where this part holds up this part. And that's what we're doing, except for instead of using two strings right here, we're going to run one string all the way through, top to bottom, through the whole thing, and each little piece, each little segment we have is going to be a bow holding that in tension. So that's how the Tensegrity works. Now let's assemble a three-piece one so that you can see how all this works. Okay, nice and tight. Okay, so the ones we're going to assemble first are white. So I think they're all white, and we have two different varieties. One, we have through holes on here, which if you look close on here, you just have a hole in the end and a hole down here, and the same thing goes for the bows. The bows are also the same way. They have holes down, get the right ones. They have holes in the end that you run the threads through. They don't go through the side like the one I just used. Those others were prototypes. These here go straight through. That's the one variety I have. And then I improved the design so that if you don't want to thread it through, we're going to try out these that just have a notch in them, so that you can just lay the thread in the notch rather than thread it through the hole. Theoretically, that should make it a whole lot easier to use. And we have bases that are the same way. If you look at this base, it's just got a notch in it as well, and a notch down here. So theoretically, those should be easier. Haven't done it before, so we'll give it a try. Now, the three-piece one we're going to do is going to be like this. One base on the bottom, one base on top, and a bow in the middle. So we need to cut enough string to handle that whole section. Okay. So roll out some kite string. That looks like enough. First thing we're going to do is glue it into the base. So we run the needle thread from the bottom. This one's got some fuzz on it from the printer. There we go. So run the needle threader from the bottom. Once you get it through there, you pull it through, and there we have the thread. So you want to do two things. One, this one doesn't have tension on it yet, so you just have to hold it in position. So you want to hold this string so it's somewhat aligned up here, and then hold this string down here so that it's laid over. Squeeze out some super glue. There's a little drop coming out. Put it on that spot. So I just put a little drop of super glue right there, and then spray some accelerant on there, and in just a second it should be done. And I didn't get the glue on there right, so always check it. Let's try that again. Okay, drop of super glue, gel, get it on there really good. Accelerant. Okay, now it's set up, and there we go, nice and snug. So if you remember from this piece, the string next goes through the end of one of these bows. So let's get one of these bows, and we'll run the string through the bow and through here. Make sure you run it through the right direction. Okay, we've got the needle threader through there, and the string's got to come from the outside in. Okay, there's the string through that. And while we're here, just to help keep it aligned, I'm going to run it through the next hole as well. There we go. Now again, this won't have a lot of tension on it now, so the main thing is to keep it lined up. And the position you want to do this is this part here needs to be about 1/3 of the distance along the bow. So see this here, this part lines up about 1/3 of the length of the bow. So that puts the bow down about that position. So that's where you want to put your glue, is right there. So squeeze out a drop of gel, and I like to put it on the outside because that's which direction it's going to be pulling from. Let's see if I got it. I don't know if I got it. Yeah, I got that. Okay, that part's done. Now here comes the tricky part. Let's flip this over. And now this one is now going to be turned into a tension joint. This one was just holding in position for now, but this one here I'm going to have to put tension. So I'm going to squeeze this part so it's pulling on that. Pull this string where it's tight. Put a drop of super glue here. Then I let off the tension with my hand. And now that string is tight like we had before, but this is not, this is loose. Okay, so we got that pretty tight. I think it's going to work. Okay, going back to our model, the next joint is now going to be another base. Let's look up here. The next part is this base right here. So we got, that's what we had to thread the next, is thread it through this part. Okay. Gets a little complicated, but it'll work. So now it's going to go on like this. Needle threader. and pull it through. And there we go, we got the string running through the right direction. And again, on this one, it's not going to have any tension, it's just going to be the position. So we want the position to be about the same as this one was. Line the string up, get a drop of super glue going. Got a drop of super glue. There comes a drop of gel. Put it down here in the hole. Okay, that should be enough. Now accelerant. Hopefully that's set up. Let's try it. Oh, that didn't hold. We're going to have to try that again. Turn around so we can see it better. Get it lined up. And some accelerant. Okay. Okay, that held. Okay, again, that was just positioned. Next one, according to our model over there, is we've got to run it through here. These holes are a little tighter. There we go. Needle threader's in there. And the thread is pulled through. And again, this is going to be one that's under tension. What I'm going to go ahead and do for alignment is run this through the bottom piece so that it's aligned properly, and I can help keep it pulled straight. Okay, so now we've got it run through the whole thing. So the tricky part here is I've got to squeeze this over this way. I'm going to have to squeeze this, spring this one closed. There we go, got the camera lined up. While keeping the string tight, straight, I'm going to have to bend this plastic. Bend in the plastic. Then I'm going to put a drop of super glue right here. And all this is tight. Squeeze out a drop of super glue. Oh, good flow. Get it in there in the hole really good. Again, it may be handy to have a third person helping out here. A second person, third set of hands. Okay, we got the accelerator on there. Now let's let off the squeeze here and see if it holds. Here we go. Yeah, there we go, nice and tight. Okay, so this is tight, this is tight, and this is tight. We have one more thing to do, and that is to tighten this bottom one down here. Get this up here. This is the last one to do. So we can set this up right. Set it up here so you can see it. Little tricky. So once again, keeping everything lined up, squeezing this to compress this part, keeping the string all lined up. So see, I'm squeezing this part right here, like this. Squeezing this part here. While it's under tension, I'm keeping the string tight right here. Now putting a drop of super glue on the bottom. Some accelerant on it. And that should do it. See if it's set up and see if it holds. Ready? Here we go. Okay, it's best to hold that string off to the side so that when you're done, it's flat. But, okay, now let's stand it up and see if that worked. Our goal is to make it look like this. It's hard to see in the light. But yeah, our goal is to have it look like that. And here it is. Let's see what it looks like. Get this extra string, and there we go. Success. Oops, it wobbled over, but you can see that it works. Now this is a good demonstration of how these are a little wobbly at times because of the bases and stuff and the surface is set on. So to make it a little bit more stable, you can use this base, this stand I should say, snap that in there, and there we go, much more stable. So we got one done. We finished one. How cool is that? Now let's try it again, except this time we'll use the one with notches, so theoretically we won't have to use the needle threader. We'll see if that works. Set these over here out of the way. Get two of these bases that have notches. This one's got a notch right here. That end has got a notch, and down here it's got a notch as well. See if I can, so we can get a string in there without it. There should be two of those. Here's the other one, and we'll need an arm with notches. And if we can, why don't we do two notches, two bows, so we'll be four items high on this one. We'll see if we can make it work. I'll need this base when we get done. So let's see if this works any better or at all. So again, first step, long piece of string. We have to run it through the base like so, no needle threader, and hook it in that notch, and there we go. Now let's see how well we can glue that. So that went in easy. We'll see if we can get some glue on that. Okay, that's done. Now what's nice about this one is we don't have to thread it through the other part first. As you can see there, the last time we had to thread it through this first, and then while that's dangling we had to put it here. Now on this one we don't have to do that because we've got this set up so that we can add that on later without threading it through. So that's a major benefit. So let's squeeze this part, put a bend in it, kick out our super glue, drop, put it in here, make sure we got enough, accelerant, wait a little bit, and then let's let off and see if it holds. Yeah, it's there. It's not as tight as I'd like, but we'll see how it works. I'm not sure if something slipped or... Oh yeah, the glue up here didn't hold. Let's do it again. Okay, letting off the squeeze. Much better, nice and tight. Now here we go with the real benefit. We can now glue one of these in place without having to thread it. So it's a lot less cumbersome. You don't have to be nearly as talented to put this one together like this. So once you get that in the place you want it, making sure you keep the string lined up straight. You do still want it straight, but then you can put your drop of super glue on there. In fact, I'm going to use liquid instead of the gel and see if it gets down in the groove a little better. Okay, here we go. Let's give it a try. Oh yeah, big drops. If that didn't get it, I'm not sure what did. So spray a little accelerant on there. Set this up right. Now that's got a good hold. So now we can go ahead and do this one. Tighten this one up. This is one that's going to have, we have to squeeze this real tight. Put a drop of this liquid on there. It fills that gap really well. Accelerant. Wait for it to set up and let off. Good, nice and tight. Now this one we were going to do another bow, so let's do that. Put the bow in place like so. Put the super glue drop on there. Just down in there. Accelerant. Okay, that held. And again, we can go ahead and tension this one. Let's flip it over. No, I can't. I gotta leave it over here. Tension this one by squeezing the plastic. Squeezing this part. Drop super glue down in there. And did it set up? Let it off. That held. And one last piece, this. And this is looking pretty promising, so I think this is going to work out. I'm going to go ahead and thread this through the bottom, just so it's lined up. Need a cleaner cut. Try this. I'm going to go ahead and use a needle threader to get it in this groove down here, but somebody a little younger than I am could have probably done that without it. The string's a little fuzzy. Okay, there we go. All the way through. Again, this one here is just for position, so we just keep the string lined up. Put a drop of super glue on here. Accelerant. Got the accelerant on there. See if it's set up. Now the last one here is we have tension. Let's see if you can see this. Squeeze the part for tension. Let me turn it around. Okay, squeeze the part. Oh, that pulled out. Squeeze that part. Keep the string lined up. Way too much glue, but that's better than not enough. Accelerant. Set it up and let off the squeeze. Now let's cut off the extra string and see if it worked. just to cheat a little bit, let's go ahead and use our base. See if this guy will work. Oh, is it gonna stand up? Let's see. There we go. Could be a little tighter, but we got it working. How you like that? Yep. These could, something could be a little tighter because it's leaning a little bit, but that's pretty good. Here we go. We're gonna show you hopefully one last way of doing this that is easier than all the rest. We're gonna use the V-notch systems here, but we're going to use this board to string the string up tight, and it should make it a lot more straightforward and easy. I haven't tried it before, so you're getting to witness it firsthand. We'll see how it works. Oops, I forgot one thing. Gotta go through the bottom on one. We gotta, since these don't have slots that go all the way through, we have to string it through the bases. You might notice that I have them in yellow and black, which just happens to be the school colors for the school I work at. I work at Wichita State University in the NIAR lab, which you can see on my shirt. And so I'm making these for some friends of mine who work out there and also crew for me on a sailboat. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to string this string up between these nails. It's kind of challenging for these old fat hands to tie these knots, but we'll make it happen. So that end is snug. We're going to come down here, and on this end what I plan to use is what I refer to as a trucker's hitch. I'm not going to show you how to tie a trucker's hitch. I'm sure you can find it on the web somewhere, but that's what I'm going to use if I can. Okay, this works like a 2-to-1 pulley system, and then you can tie it off with a knot real easily when you get done. So this is a 2x4, big nails on both ends, and then this little trucker's hitch, which you can use to pull it up really snug, and then hold it there while you tie a knot on it. Okay, that knot should do, and you can hear the string's pretty tight. So now I'm going to step over here and get my super glue and glue all this stuff in place. Okay, I'm back, and I got this magazine to help provide protection so I don't accidentally get super glue or accelerant on the table.
Yes.
And you heard my wife back there say she's glad to hear that. So
That's enough. Protection.
yeah, slip this into the slot. There, that's in. Line it up. Now this first glue down here will not be, I won't have any pressure on it, any tension on it, so it would just be for position. Now the next one, it'll be the tricky one where we have to put some load on it. So a little bit of liquid. This is the liquid super glue. Squeeze out a drop. Let it run down into the where the string is. If I can get it to go. Okay, that's down in there, I hope. And then the accelerator makes it set up faster. I don't have to worry about it drying or not. I don't think I got the glue down in there. This is ultra liquid. Yep, let's try to get some more liquid down in there. Ah, there we go. Got some liquid down in there now. and some accelerant. Okay, that's set up. Now this next one is a tricky one, as always. We're going to have to squeeze this. In the earlier part of the video I called it tension, but it's really, we're squeezing this part so that when we let off from it, it'll have tension on the string. So, lots of squeeze. Accelerant. And then let it off. Okay. And then to see if we got it, we cut these strings. Cut this string. And there we go. There we go, we got it. Not quite as tight as I'd hoped. Next time I'll tie the string a little tighter. But let's put it in a base here, in a stand. There we go. That one's done. that helped. Now let's cut the string and see what it looks like. I believe that's the best one we've got ever. Yep, best one we've got ever. Great. All right. Okay, by far the best of the bunch. The best one we did of all of them. Using that last process.